Wuthering Heights captivates audiences, SeeDance shakes Hollywood, and so much more in this episode of Beyond the Screen. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Beyond the Screen. I'm your host, Ryan, and with me, as always, is the one, the only, Jake Holtzclaw. Jake, what up, man?
What up, man? Valentine's Day weekend, right?
Fun
Then
times.
President's Day following it up.
4-day weekend here in Beyond the Screen. We're talking about, it'll be an interesting box office run because we're going to go over both 3 and 4 day because they do count not differently, but because it's a 4 day, technically a lot of people were off. But anyway, we've done that before. But yeah, it'll be fun.
Have we?
Have we? How was your Valentine's Day?
It was good. I took her to a small town. We usually tear up a small town. You wouldn't believe how many antique shops are in a small town nowadays. There's almost always 2 at least. This one had 5. They had a mansion tour, like a 18th century mansion. It's a winery. They had a chocolate charcuterie board. Big old main street, nice eating. Coffee shop, 4 different coffee shops you could go to. Yeah. So full day, woke up at 8, got there at 9, and just stayed till 6, I think. So whole day.
Yeah.
9 hours in this town.
That is a town that said, bring out the tourism. And they just everything you could ever imagine. Coffee shops, chocolate charcuterie boards.
Yeah. They're doing it right. Historic district of X town. I'm going to gatekeep it.
Oh, no. How dare you?
It was in Indiana, Madison, Indiana.
Oh, very cool. Very cool.
Very small place. Not small, but kind of small.
Yeah.
You want to tell the folks what Emily did?
Can
you see it, or do you want me to see it?
No, I don't see it. Go ahead.
Oh, she went snowboarding with her partner all day and then went to Olive Garden for dinner. It's too cool not to mention.
That is pretty cool to go Valentine's Day snowboarding.
I wonder where in this state.
Yeah. For those who are new, they will never know. We're going to gatekeep the state. But for our longtime listeners, they're going to be like, what part could they possibly be snowboarding in?
Out there east. They got the mountains out east.
They do.
Yeah.
Oh,
snowboarding the coal.
Yeah, I'm already say there's no snowboarding out there. There's what would you call that? Coal boarding?
Sure.
Yeah. You just got to watch out for the fracking,
And the black lung.
Yeah, right. That's just part of the game.
What'd you do, Ryan?
So it wasn't as adventurous as you, me, and my wife. We went to a coffee shop. My wife. We went to a coffee shop in a town near us. It's a smaller town, and kind of similar to what you did, but not exactly. It was new and it was close by, so we went to the one. Then we went to the Hobby Lobby and the convenience store, and we got this hat that I think's hilarious. And
he's off lunching his kid, by the way.
No, I'm not. But I did say before that we shouldn't mention it, and I completely ruined it myself. But I could not stop the narrative.
We're not gonna mention it.
Yeah, I couldn't stop the narrative of what I did. So yeah, but
one
anyway,
day if we ever have people who deep dive on the lore of this podcast, they're gonna focus on this one episode where he wore the dad hat.
Yeah, and see where it came from. Why does he wear the dad hat? Yeah. It's gonna be a 3-minute.
He doesn't have kids.
Yeah, 3-minute video. But then no, we went to like a local convenience store, and we got those little painting things you can get, they're pre-drawn and whatever, and you can just paint it. And we just had a good afternoon. Then we went to dinner after that. But more importantly than
wait. I saw one of those paint by number wash rags, but you painted it with stains, and one of them, the reds, said blood, and I was like, wow.
No,
interesting.
I don't like that.
Interesting.
No.
But you could also use ketchup if you wanted. It would the colors were they would dry that color, and it gave you what you should use to stain this wash rag. It was
Okay.
interesting.
Yeah. Blood sacrifice or ketchup.
Yeah. And I think it made the Mona Lisa.
Oh my gosh, what is happening? That's no. I think I had like a bouquet of like roses, and my wife had like it was like a mosaic almost. Like it was like I don't know. So, but it was pretty cool. And but then more importantly, I noticed all of last week. I'm going there, Jake. There was a countdown. If anyone who watched the show, they know I like big robots. They know I like big robots. He sits with me on my desk, Optimus Prime. I noticed on the official Transformers account that they were doing this weird countdown. And long story short, it's to celebrate the 40th anniversary of the original film that traumatized a bunch of children. So for those who don't know, in 1986, the first movie of Transformers released that was like the culmination of like this original G1 series. And they wanted to make room for new toys. And so how they did that was they just killed all the characters. And that traumatized every child who ever loved television ever at the time. So now they're doing like an apology tour. And that spawned a huge like deep dive because I noticed I wanted to know where G1 was. And so I found the first episode and I was like, like, why not? Like, I'll see how different it is. At the end of the first episode of G1, there's this random like mention of Marvel, like the Marvel. And this huge deep dive to discover that Marvel created the characters for Hasbro. So if you enjoy Transformers like I do, you can think legitimate Marvel comics for that, which I found that fascinating. And I told Jake all about it in the deepest, windingest dive that I could. And so you could see how much he appreciates it. You could tell he really loves it. But I found it fascinating. So
because Spider-Man was in it.
Yeah, in the third volume of the original comic book run, I don't remember if it was Megatron or not, but it just features Spider-Man, and there's like Venom-clad Peter Parker Spider-Man swinging off of, like, I'll just say Megatron, and Megatron's like, and it's just like, why are you yelling? Like, it's just a dude swinging, but it was pretty interesting. And then they completely abandoned that continuity like the next issue. Well, I've not read it, but I was doing the deep dive, and it was pretty funny. But anyway,
I bet it's pretty good.
I bet it is pretty good. I would love, continuously off topic. They sell on Kindle like these giant compilation of like all of the continuity in like 2 parts, which ran from like 84 to like 90 something. I don't know, 95 maybe. And that would be fascinating to read, to see how different it is to the movie continuities and so on and so forth. But anyway, are we ready for our mini segment, our little micro segment before
you know how much that costs on eBay?
It's like $100. No, not the Kindle. Or are you talking about the physical?
The physical.
How much is the physical? Oh, that's gonna be like $1,000.
One of them is, yeah. But it's like minted at 9.6. There's others that are like 200 something. There's some that are like $17, but they're like not minted as high. So.
Yeah. Anyway,
actually, the $20 one.
The $20 one? No, I'll just get the Kindle. I care more about the story than I do actually having it. Like although if I could get it, I would, but I just want to read. Anyway, our micro segment is always, we answer the age-old question of what are we drinking? Usually we would bring Emily from Beyond the Curtain, but she will be joining us virtually. She will not be, or I guess in spirit, not virtually. She'll be telling us what she's drinking, but she will not be joining us. So I will be Emily for half a second. She's drinking iced oolong tea.
The voice. Oh,
I'm not doing that. Jake, what are you drinking?
I'm drinking a orange Alani.
Ooh, that's not what you were gonna say.
And Boss Coffee, the Tommy Lee Jones Japanese commercial led Boss Coffee.
Emily, hit it.
Yeah, show the clip. Maybe.
この惑星の子供たちと呼ばれる存在にはおはようございます超授業だリンやそう全身でぶつかっていかなくてはならないもしよかったら付き合ってただ教師としてあるまじきそういう分かってこの惑星の教育は加減が難しいでも君はいい教師になる缶コーヒーのボスレインボーマウンテン洗濯機はバントさんただもんじゃないね楽しい缶コーヒーのボスレインボーマウンテン
So for our audio listeners, there was just random Japanese voices everywhere. However, I find those hilarious. And for those who don't know, Tommy Lee Jones had like a sidebar career where he was just, oh, Jake's cracking it open, where he was just the main focal point of this Japanese coffee company's career or like their media push. And Jake just cracked it open and sniffed it and made a face that I don't think.
It's straight black coffee, dude. So what's written on the can, all in English, mind you. This is very awesome, so I can read it. Partially, I can read.
Really?
Brewed by hot water to extract the boldness and aromatic goodness, chilled fast to lock the quality. So they froze this shit, and then step 3 is realize rich taste coffee.
Oh.
So. Flash brew coffee is brewed by hot water and cooled down rapidly. Okay, that's just what they. Okay, in Japan. So first sippy.
Here we go. The review.
That is a black coffee with a lot of water.
Actually. Oh, so it's not as strong. It's watered down.
No. Yeah. So like that's actually I thought it was gonna be much worse as a non-black coffee drinker. That is something I could probably down on my way to work, like just like Tommy Lee Jones. Yeah. Well, is it pleasant? Like, is it like, oh, my full of sugar and cream McDonald's frappe? No. I mean, it is literally watered black coffee, but it's so watered that even this guy who enjoys his sweet caffeinated beverages, it will drink. So 4 out of 5 film reels.
There it is. Official beyond the screen review of Boss Coffee. Was that what it was called? Boss?
I love a 4 out of 5, man.
Yeah.
Of all caffeinated, it probably is like a 3 out of 5. But like of a Japanese, of my own knowledge of Japanese coffee, this one.
It's the best.
It's
Japanese
pretty
coffee
good.
you've ever had.
It's 4 out of 5.
Yeah. And I am drinking black coffee, just regular. I think it's great value. What do they call that you get at Walmart? The donut shop or whatever.
Oh, I hate donut shop.
That's what it is. That's what it is.
There's no amount of creamer or sugar that I could put in donut shop that makes me want to drink it.
I drink this every day. It is my to the veins is how I take it. But anyway, that has been What Are We Drinking? Thank you guys so much for joining us. Comment down below what you're drinking when you partake in our episode of Beyond the Screen. You're here for film news, and with that, we're going to go ahead and get into the film news with our first segment, which is always box office. We go over the latest in the numbers, but first, we predict. And boy, did some of us predict wrong and others of us predict right. So let's see how we predicted last week. Me and Jake, I had GOAT at 1, Wuthering Heights at 2, Crime 101 at 3, Send Help at 4, and Cold Storage at 5. Jake had the same 1 and 2 as I did, GOAT and Wuthering Heights. His 3 differed a little bit. He had Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die. He had Send Help at 4 and Cold Storage at 5. So me and him were very, very similar. Our 1 and 2 and 4 and 5 were both the same, only differing in the 3. And this is how we did for those watching. I got 2 out of 5 right with Crime 101 and Send Help. I had, if I would have flipped Wuthering Heights and GOAT, I would have had 4. Same thing with Jake. He would have had 3 right had he had flipped GOAT and Wuthering Heights. We both, this is something that we want to stress, is that we both put too much emphasis on GOAT and Cold Storage. We thought Joe Keery would carry a little bit more. He didn't. And GOAT, while challenging Wuthering Heights, the whether it's hate watching or another watching, it propelled way too much up to the top. But we also compete against a bot named Jimmy. Jimmy is ChatGPT. We will admit we use the AI. We waste the water, but we're curious to see how close we can get and compete with the bot. And usually, more often than not, we're more accurate than Jimmy. This week, Jimmy was right on the money. Jimmy he predicted Wuthering Heights, GOAT, Crime 101, Send Help, and Solo Mio 1 through 5, and that is accurate as all get out. That is 1 through 5, all correct. So Jake is 5 out of 5, or Jimmy is 5 out of 5 for the second time since we've started using Jimmy. So our experience with the bot, we've used the same prompt. I think we've updated it once.
Updated once, tried to use deep research, use different bots, but it really seems like general. So I do have the paid version. So I'm using 5.2. If those care about versions, but I don't think it was 5.2 when chat got it right the first time. I think it was either 5 or 5.1. So 5.2 has recently come out, and it took a few times on 5.2, and I think it was deep research on 5.2 as well. And this was just a regular prompt last week. Nothing was changed. Changed the prompt once. Actually, I think it was after he had won.
Yeah, it's interesting because he's either very accurate or very inaccurate, and more often than not, he's inaccurate. I think maybe once or twice he's gotten 2 or 3 correct, but more often than not, again, he usually goes 1 or 0 for, or 5 out of 5.
We knew going into this week it was really anybody's game. Looking at it, it was like, yeah, that could happen. Yeah, Ryan's could happen. Mine could happen. It didn't really, it was kind of up in the air. And sure enough.
Yeah, and again, how we do the predictions, we're not reading the forecasts. We're not reading other people's predictions. We are going by recency bias. We're going by what we've seen in terms of the trends that we've witnessed, how films do, which is why we had GOAT, because Zootopia stayed in the top 5 for like 10 or 11 weeks in a row. That doesn't mean that GOAT might not surpass it later, but that was why, like, if you're wondering at home, like, why are you guys so wrong all the time? We're not reading
we're not you guys so wrong,
which is a valid question, but we are not reading the predictions elsewhere. We are just going by with what we think could happen. But with that, the top 5 for this week, if you lost track, because we said a lot of different lists here, the box office is listed as follows from this past weekend. Wuthering Heights at 1, GOAT at 2, Crime 101 at 3, Send Help at 4, and Solo Mio at 5. We're going to go back to the top, and we're going to start with Wuthering Heights. We're going to go through all these numbers and give you a deeper dive. Debuting with $34.8 million domestically on the 3-day and $40 million projected on the 4-day, which that won't be solidified till tomorrow. We're going to read both. We're going to read about what they are projected to finish at, even though we're really going to harp on the 3-day. It's important to know where they're going to maybe finish after today. So anyway, to recap, Wuthering Heights debuts at $34.8 million domestically on the traditional 3-day, or on the 4-day, $40 million projected, which we won't know till tomorrow. $82 million worldwide is what this film projected to have earned in its first weekend. By the numbers, the film is already looking to have earned back its $80 million production budget, again, worldwide. The film has needed the entirety of the 4-day weekend to do so, however. Mind you, going into this weekend, in the last couple of weeks, there were some projections that were seeing the 3-day weekend getting up to 50. It failed to even reach 35, needing all of the 4th day to get to that 40 mark. So while still a successful endeavor, while still a great debut for the follow-up, for Margot Robbie's follow-up to Barbie, there's still a little bit of negative in there if you go by the numbers and so far and so forth. At one point, the Margot Robbie and Jacob Elordi starring romance was projected again to earn that $50 million mark. But maybe it wasn't just due to its like falling below the curb. There were some other films that were shocking and surprising. That's called foreshadowing. Stick with us as we go down the rest of the list. Going through the ratings for Wuthering Heights, the film currently has earned a B, which is all right from CinemaScore and the post-track exit polls, and a 61% from the Tomato Meter, which for a film like Wuthering Heights, that is a little bit on the low side. The synopsis from Rotten Tomatoes includes, quote, "Tragedy strikes when Heathcliff falls in love with Catherine Earnshaw, a woman from a wealthy family in 18th century England." And most people know kind of what happens in Wuthering Heights, so we're going to move on. Finishing second is GOAT, earning $26 million on the 3-day domestic weekend and a projected $32 million on the 4-day. The film has earned, as of thus far, $47.6 million worldwide. While Wuthering Heights has fallen slightly behind its expectations, Sony's GOAT has surpassed their own, challenging the aforementioned film to the shock of many analysts everywhere. The film so far has a rating of 80% on the Tomato Meter and a 93% on the Popcorn Meter. So again, one of those rare instances where critics and fans alike agree this is a good film. The synopsis for this Sony Spider-Verse production company-led film, quote, The story follows Will, a small goat with big dreams, who gets a once-in-a-lifetime shot to join the pros and play Rollerball, a high-intensity,
Rollerball.
co-ed, full contact, sport dominated by the fastest, fiercest animals in the world. Will's new teammates aren't thrilled about having a little goat on their roster, but Will is determined to revolutionize the sport and prove once and for all that, quote, smalls can ball. Mind you,
Smalls can't ball, by the way.
this is a basketball film. It is produced by Steph Curry. Steph Curry also voices, what's funny is he voices a giraffe.
Yeah.
Steph is on, now, mind you, Steph Curry is like 6'3" or 6'4", so he is a tall person to the rest of us. But if you watch basketball, he's not. He looks on the short side, so it's comedic that he plays a giraffe. But anywho, that is the synopsis for GOAT. Finishing third is Crime 101, earning $15.1 million domestic on the 3-day weekend and $17.79 million so far projected on the 4-day, earning a total of $29.79 globally. While not a bad start, the high-priced $90 million acquisition and production film from Amazon MGM might prove to be a bit much to overcome at the box office, yet this will be another film that Amazon has to hope does well on the streamer. The other one that just happened was Melania. That one was another $70 to $100 million to produce, to acquire, and to get the marketing out. So back-to-back films for Amazon MGM falling below the curb. The Rotten Tomatoes synopsis for Crime 101 is, quote, set against the sun-bleached grit of Los Angeles, Crime 101 weaves a tale of an elusive jewel thief who's played by Chris Hemsworth, whose string of heists along the 101 freeway have mystified police. When he eyes the score of a lifetime, his path crosses with the delusioned insurance broker Halle Berry, who's the actress, who is facing her own crossroads. Convinced he has found a pattern, a relentless detective, who's played by Mark Ruffalo, is closing in, raising the stakes even higher. As the oh my gosh, I apologize, people, I can't read today. As the heist approaches, the line between hunter and hunted begins to blur, and all three are faced with life-defining choices and the realization that there can be no turning back. Which just seems like a generic crime heist film, but we do like Mark Ruffalo, and we do like Chris Hemsworth, and we like Halle Berry, so we'll see. And Barry Keoghan's in there, too. There's no mention in the Rotten Tomatoes synopsis of Barry Keoghan, and he's actually got, from what I understand, a pretty important like position or role in the film. But anywho. That has been the end of our debuting films. Coming in fourth is Send Help in its third weekend in theaters, earning $8.9 domestically in the 3-day weekend and $10.7 million on the 4-day projected, pushing its global tally to $73.8 million. While a first to fourth position drop might seem like a heavy fall, or maybe even expected for a horror film in its third weekend in theaters, the film has made waves for its consistency, dropping only 0.9% in ticket sales, less than 1%. It earned almost exactly the same this week as what it earned last week, staying in the top 5 and making sure that Sam Raimi's latest horror genre film it's got some legs behind it. It's sticking around. And lastly, rounding out our top 5 is Solo Mio in its second week, earning $6.8 million domestically on the 3-day and projected $8 million on the 4-day. The film's global tally is up to $18.5 million. Another Valentine's Day success, the Kevin James-led Solo Mio drops a narrow $2.9 million. So again, we're seeing a lot of these films sticking around this week, even though there's a lot of debuting films, not even in a similar genre, but it's odd that Solo Mio and Send Help were able to hold on almost to the exact same that they've debuted with or followed up their second week with. So Jake, any thoughts about the box office?
I think I was robbed.
Robbed?
Yeah. Cold Storage limited release to 1,000 with Joe Keery in it. And I think that would have been up there. I think it would have made 5.
Yep. Do we think that one will get a wide release?
I don't know. Probably. I mean, I don't see why not. But I don't know anything about other than why wouldn't it, you know?
Yeah.
But I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm not sure.
I don't understand why these films, who's the producer or the distributor of Cold Storage? Because it's odd that a film with Liam Neeson and Joe Keery would get obviously it's not a limited.
Samuel Goldwyn Films.
Okay.
Don't know who that is.
Is that the producer or is that the distributor?
Distributor.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I can't really fathom. I can only imagine that this is going to get a wider release because from what I had seen,
He ain't done nothing.
It actually has a really, it actually, like, those who have seen it have a high thought of it. Like the critics and the fans who have seen it early, they love it thus far. So it's odd. It is very odd that it doesn't have like a 3,000 theater release or more even. Especially for how hot, like right now, Joe Keery's just coming off of Stranger Things. Joe, the band, is as high as it's ever going to be, or maybe at just the beginning of its incline, right? Like they're opening for Tame Impala this year. So it's odd that they aren't releasing this to a wider audience. That is strange.
Who is this guy? This Samuel Goldwyn is getting these big name actors in movies I've never heard of.
Shoot some. Give me some examples.
You wouldn't know a lick of these. I'm almost certain. I'll start from the top, man. Outside of Cold Storage, we've got Hunting Season with Mel Gibson.
Okay.
We've got Tin Soldier with Jamie Foxx, one of the Italian mobster actors. I forget his name. It's a big one. Big. He always looks like, he does that.
There's a couple of those. Joe
Pesci?
Make me... I don't know.
No, it's one of the big ones. You're gonna make me
I'm
literally
sorry.
Straight from an image. Put that up on screen because I don't remember.
There you go.
He does the.
No, I
the
know,
Italian...
but I want you to find it though.
Name.
I want you to find it though. Anyway, keep going. I'm
gonna
continue. Continue.
Cast Robert De Niro.
That's so funny.
Anyway, I'm just going off of movie posters here. Scrolling down. I didn't know any of those, and then dang it. Oh, Liam Neeson, Absolution. He has a mustache.
I feel like I've heard of Absolution. I've not heard of any of these other ones.
The Thicket with Peter Dinklage. Moving on.
Anyway,
Liam Neeson, Saints and Sinners.
The point is that this guy has like a random array of people who he regularly calls on for movies that not no one's heard of, but we haven't heard of.
I've never heard of these.
Yeah, that is fascinating. Yeah,
Transmutators, and it's just a spoof of Transformers.
I totally expect Cold Storage to get a wider release at some point, but I'm curious why it doesn't get one like this past week. Because there's got to be a ton. All right, here we go. We're going to see for our visual audience. Here's Transmutators. That is... That's awesome, dude. You can even see the Camaro. That literally just Optimus Prime. That is...
Well, that's a Challenger.
Sick. That's sick. Well, yeah, but like... Or is that a Challenger? But it's in the color of... Sorry, I can barely see it. It's in the Bumblebee color scheme. Anyway. Yeah, that's comedy.
Who is this guy?
Anyway... The point is that there's some shockers in the box office. Around the rest of the box office this week, Iron Lung and Dracula both drop from the top 5, dropping from 3rd and 5th, respectively, to 9th and 10th. Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die debuts to 7th. So not quite the legs we thought it would have, but again, debuting close to the top 5 is the Sam Rockwell starring comedy sci-fi film. Jake, it's time for our predictions. Again, this week we came in, I got 2 right. You got 1. Jimmy got 5. It's time for redemption. Hit me with your predictions for the upcoming week.
Mine are the opposite of Ryan's, with one staple for both of them. I'm going with GOAT at 1. I'm holding out. I think that GOAT will outlive this fad of hate watching Wuthering Heights. It'll still be, I think it'll still be up there, but GOAT's going to beat it in the second week just because this is, come on. I think what happened was all the parents left the kids to the babysitters at home. And then this weekend, they're going to take them to the movies.
I thought you were gonna say something even funnier, which is that they gave their kids tickets to GOAT and they went to Wuthering Heights. Like they just
No, they left them at
parted
home and
ways,
they went to go see Wuthering Heights, yes, but the kids got forced to stay home.
like Charlie Puth in Fast and Furious. It's been a long day. They're like splitting apart, and like the parents are going left and the kids are going right.
Right.
Anyway, no.
I have a coworker that's their ringtone.
Oh my gosh.
It could be 8:15 in the morning, and they'd get a call from a customer, and I'll lean over to my coworker and I was like, "It's been a long day."
I would hate that. I would hate that. Charlie Puth's got an angelic voice, but I would hate hearing that every day. Anyway, continue with your predictions.
So GOAT 1, Wuthering Heights 2. We've got a movie debuting. We believe to be wide is How to Make a Killing with Chris Evans.
Glenn Powell.
Glenn Powell. Sorry. No, I'm kidding. But Glenn Powell, I really thought it was Chris Evans. Glenn Powell, I think it's going to come in 3, just because it's one of those A24. What is it? Don't wake up, dead man. What is
kind
it?
Of.
The Knives Out level.
It's a spoof on like this guy was born to this wealthy family, but he's not recognized for whatever reason. It's been a while since we watched the trailer. So Glenn Powell, he like trims the hedges of his family tree to ensure that he will inherit the wealth of like the old family member or whatever.
It's very much told like Knives Out. I feel like it's that kind of fun style movie. It's not necessarily a mystery, more of action, but I think it is going to have like a little twist to it at the end, so that'll be interesting. But
Glenn
that's
Powell,
the kind of
Margaret
audience
Qualley, Topher Grace, Ed Harris, and so on.
Some good names.
Yeah.
And so I think it'll come in 3rd just because it's that style of movie and Knives Out was successful. So it'll be funny that if this goes well, I know they're going to make it How to Make a Killing 2.
Yeah.
They have to. Maybe even a 3.
I don't know how. There's only so much family tree you can trim. Yeah. Anyway.
And then I've got another one that's supposed to be wide releasing is Psycho Killer, which Ryan has convinced me to believe that a slasher out of the ordinary, or what how'd you put that?
A out of season slasher film.
An out of season slasher could do well. So I put it at 4, and then I got Send Help at 5. So Send Help being what came in 4th this week. I've got it at 5. So Ryan, you want to tell the audience how you stole all my ideas?
No, I'm going to tell them how you're wrong. So I have Wuthering Heights at 1 and GOAT at 2. I do agree that GOAT will have the longer tenure in the top 5. I just don't think it'll be after week 2 or after week 1. Sorry. I think week 2 will still be owned by Wuthering Heights. I think that the competition we see this week will continue into next week even more so. We'll probably see a really tight battle for 1 and 2. Whether it's hate watchers or whether it's those who really like Jacob Elordi, I think that we will see this film continue, Wuthering Heights, that is, continue to succeed at the box office through at least its 2nd week. I think we'll see a steep decline after the newness of it and the novelty of it wears off, which is after its 2nd week for me. But I think GOAT will be right there. And I think you're right. I think a lot of parents in the first 1 or 2 weeks will go see Wuthering Heights, then they'll turn around and take their kids to see GOAT in the weeks that follow. So I think GOAT will it be 1? I don't think so. But will GOAT overtake Wuthering Heights in the top 3 or 4? Yeah, but not next week. Not to my opinion. 3, I have the exact same How to Make a Killing. I just think that this is of that, like you had described, it's of that Knives Out kind of area, Glenn Powell, Margaret Qualley. Like it's got, I mean, to a lesser extent, Topher Grace. Like it's got the star power. It's got the goofiness, the narrative that people like. It's not quite a mystery, but it does seem like they're, like you had said, I completely agree. Not to just take your answer, but I agree with why it's 3rd.
I told y'all.
The twist will be why people go back. But 4th and 5th, I have flipped from Jake. I have Send Help at 4 and Psycho Killer at 5. I think that if anything, the proven legs under Send Help will keep it where it's at. And I think that audience that's still going to see Send Help will take away from Psycho Killer. I have seen a lot of positive things about Psycho Killer. from early audiences and from test screenings and from what have you, critic reactions. But I think it will finish 5th because there will be a battle with Send Help. If it flips, I told Jake as soon as he flipped him, because I had originally had put Send Help first. Jake flipped him, and I was like, that's actually that's actually a really good idea. And you're probably right for it. But I still think that Send Help has the legs.
I'm good.
It will pull from Psycho Killer.
Y'all heard
And lastly, we will talk about chat, because Jimmy did something fascinating. And the last time he did this, he was wrong. I think he went 0 for 5 the last time he did this, and we had this reaction. So maybe he can prove us wrong. Jimmy predicted, I can only imagine 2 coming in first. I don't know where
I don't even know what that is.
I don't know where I've been. I don't either. But I don't know anyone who's excited for I Can Only Imagine. I didn't even know there was a first. So maybe I'm just under a rock. But Jimmy says that film's going to pop off, followed by GOAT and Wuthering Heights. He has those 2 flipped like Jake does, but instead of 1 and 2, he has it at 2 and 3. Then he has How to Make a Killing at 4 and Crime 101 at 5. So he has Send Help falling out completely, which is fascinating. I think that 3, that GOAT, Wuthering Heights, and How to Make a Killing, or however order, I think that will continue to be your top 3 fighting. But no love for Psycho Killer. Send Help, again, is gone from Jimmy's top 5. Interesting to see. I wonder where he's pulling that information from, because the last time he did something like this, I think he predicted Strangers Chapter 3 to be in like second, and we were both like, whoa! And this was very similar when we saw that earlier before the recording, was I Can Only Imagine 2 coming in at 1.
Dennis Quaid, by the way.
Okay. Dennis Quaid at this point is Jack Quaid's dad. He's not, like, I don't think his name is as big as it once was. He's great in the substance. But
Trace Adkins, by the way.
Oh, wow. Oh, drink my beer. Drive my truck. Anyway. Any other thoughts about Jimmy about the box office?
I've got none.
If that's all, we're going to go ahead and get out of our first segment. Coming up after the break, we're talking about it. ByteDance and SeeDance making waves, both good and bad. We'll talk about it up next. Welcome back to Beyond the Screen. You've made it to segment 2, which is always our major news segment. Today, we're talking about it. Yes, more AI conversation. I'm sorry. It is impacting the world today, and we're going to deep dive. ByteDance, yes, that ByteDance, launches new
TikTok.
AI video model, SeeDance 2.0, leaving jaws on the ground and all of Hollywood crying foul. Let's get into it. Users of the AI model are generating, now again, the AI model is SeeDance 2.0, which is by the same company that created TikTok, which just got sold off to Oracle and a bunch of other investors. Using ByteDance's AI model, they are generating prompts that seem to lift material from various major Hollywood outlets, i.e. Disney, Paramount, Warner Brothers, etc., and are creating content with, as Deadline puts it, startling accuracy. Deadline further explains, quote, viral videos purportedly created by SeeDance 2.0 include a Tom Cruise versus Brad Pitt deepfake fight, remixes of the Avengers Endgame, Optimus Prime taking on Godzilla, and a Friends scene in which Rachel and Joey are played by otters, end quote. Reuters is reporting that the software has gone viral across various Chinese social media sites, with the Chinese government-backed media outlets touting the work of one Twitter account in particular named L.Cine. In this guy, he has created one in particular, excuse me, I cannot talk today, ladies and gentlemen, in which this specific prompt that he had put out on the internet shows, I'm assuming is him. I don't know. Fighting Captain America, and that's it. And the Chinese government and these media outlets are like, look how great this is. Anywho, the account posted the fight with the comment, quote, AI made this in 20 seconds. SeeDance 2.0 is dominating the market. On a side note here, and a personal aside, I find this, if you can't tell, I'm being kind of sarcastic. I find this hilarious because of all of the ones that are circulating right now, this one that is being touted by these certain like government officials and the certain whatever is like the worst one. It's like, it is so bad. It is not a good representation of what this actually can do. It's it's like up there with some of the worst ones. Like I've seen one, we'll watch the Optimus Prime and Godzilla one. That one was pretty bad. But some of the best ones I've seen were like the Hugh Jackman Wolverine versus Cavill Superman, and we'll watch the Brad Pitt versus Cruise fight because that one was the best. That one was great. We'll go over the good and the bad, but again, personal aside, I think it's hilarious that they're like, look how great this is.
Have you seen the IP Man versus Captain America? Was that the one you were talking about?
I hadn't seen that one. I did see one recently where Heisenberg.
That one's like second to the Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt. Like there's IP Man, if you guys know about IP Man, this movie, and Captain America are fighting, and it's about the same.
See, I've not seen that one. There was another one I saw where Walter White and Captain America, a lot of Captain America for some reason, they fight in an elevator, and that one looked great too. But there's a lot of really good ones. Like when I say good ones, the ones that look really crisp, and there's a lot that look really bad. And we'll go over those later. But according to Deadline, ByteDance itself has claimed to have worked with, quote, experts from the film and television industry while making the software. Yet, that has not stopped the corporate machine that is Disney and Paramount, because they refuse to sit idly by, as you can imagine, and they both sent ByteDance cease and desist letters. Very quickly, the app launches, these videos circulate, and bam, legality, just there. It's instant, which you should have expected. Paramount accuses the Chinese tech company of, quote, blatant infringement, according to Variety, with the company alleging SeeDance ripped IP, including South Park, Star Trek, The Godfather, Dora the Explorer, and more. Disney... Now, Paramount kind of was like, look, you did this, stop it. Disney had some hiss in their bite. They were a little bit more agitated, a little bit more angry about it, taking it a step further, accusing ByteDance of creating, quote, a pirated library of Disney's copyrighted characters from Star Wars, Marvel, and other Disney franchises. And this is the big one. As if Disney's coveted intellectual property were free public domain clip art, end of quote. Which, when I first read that, I laughed out loud because that's so, like, nose up in the air. You using it like it's clip art. Like, that's all I can imagine, because, like, why say it like that? You know what I'm saying? Like, that is like, there's some hiss in that bite. You know what I mean? Like, that was really aggressive from Disney's part, which you could imagine. Again, that quote is according to Variety. Also,
when it's funny because of what we've talked about prior on the show about how they're utilizing IPs that they own from people who did not consent to it being given to AI for people to create shows using AI on their IP that they sold to Disney.
Yeah.
You know?
So what you're referencing, for those at home who might not remember, because it's been a long time since we talked about it, OpenAI and Disney, they created a partnership in which Disney Plus users can create generate prompts of their favorite characters within the app. Now, they're circumventing the whole face thing, so it's only characters with masks or only like non-human characters or whatever. But you can create storylines that you can share on Disney Plus using OpenAI, which is integrated into, which will be, I don't think it's on right now, but will be integrated into Disney Plus. And there was this whole hoopla about like legality. Like, there's bound to be, we had this conversation, there's bound to be somebody who was going to sue because it's their story and they created this prompt, whatever, an AI, and they created this storyline, and Disney's going to have something similar, and there's bound to be a lawsuit down the line, right? Jake is using this example or that example as the comedy and the irony of Disney getting mad that SeeDance is using it in the same way.
The contradiction and the hypocrisy of this situation. It's like, no, only we can do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
We own those things.
Ours.
It doesn't matter about who created it. We own it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I will say there is a little bit of like, obviously they stole it. Yes. Like, we're going to go into like, when you watch it, what struck me is not that it's like creating new, because it is creating new, but really what it's doing is it's taking the likeness of these people and it's literally ripping choreography. Like, so we're going to talk about the Cruise and Pitt, right? We're going to see it. When we see it, it's obvious that was from a film. Like, there was a genuine film where it was actually choreographed by people, and the AI is taking that choreography and it's just putting the faces of the people and they're going back and forth. That in itself is theft to some extent. And so, like, there's room there, but it is ironic, and we're going to talk about it a lot more later, but it is ironic that Disney is like, nuh-uh, ours. Anyway.
All right, but how much would it take for us to acquire your technology?
ByteDance, if we wanted to buy SeeDance, how much How much would that be? Anyway,
They're just pissed they didn't do it first.
Which is right. I feel like they felt like they were beat to the curb a little bit there. But if you can imagine, every union in Hollywood also has had something to say, including the Motion Picture Association, or the MPA, SAG-AFTRA, and a coalition of artist rights groups connected to Hollywood unions named the Human Artistry Campaign, which I didn't know existed. But they are also being very vocal, and they're all condemning the model entirely. In short, unions are continuing to fight for their members' jobs, and production houses and distributors and these IP owners are worried about the blatant theft of their IPs. In response, a ByteDance spokesperson states via Variety, quote, ByteDance respects intellectual property rights, and we have heard the concerns regarding SeeDance 2.0. We are taking steps to strengthen current safeguards as we work to prevent the unauthorized use of intellectual property and likeness by users. Going back to Deadline, many high-profile creators throughout Hollywood have given their opinions regarding SeeDance, including Deadpool and Wolverine co-writer Rhett Reese, stating that he was, quote, shook after viewing the AI model. Further stating, quote, I was blown away by the Pitt v. Cruz video because it was so professional. That's exactly why I'm scared. My glass half-empty view is that Hollywood is about to be revolutionized/decimated. On the opposite end of the spectrum, Rick and Morty writer Heather Ann Campbell stated on Blue Sky, quote, all of these people who have access to the latest AI visualization engines like SeeDance, they're being given total control to create anything they can imagine, and they're turning out fan fiction. So first, before we get into like the deep dive, let's take a look. We've been promising it. We've been teasing it a little bit, like car keys to a baby. Oh, keep paying attention. Here they are, for those who haven't seen it. Here is the AI videos.
I'm sorry.
Oh, hell no. He killed like a bajillion people.
Autobots, transform!
See you.
Is anything weird?
Nope, all is normal.
You hear me? Did you hear me?
No, what did you
See
say?
the boobs on Optimus?
Yeah, that's actually like what he looks
That
like
guy's
in
pectoral muscles are huge.
They randomly gave him in like the fourth. That was Michael Bay, like the fourth or fifth. I can't remember which one. They randomly gave him like defined muscles for no reason.
Yeah.
But anyway, my first initial thought, the human or the animated ones, right? Not the CGI spoofed ones. So like the Cruz v. Pitt and the Otter's Friends spoof that we saw for our visual watchers. Those two looked great. Like genuinely. And the thing that really like blew me away was the sound. The sound was perfect. But when it came to the more CGI stuff, like Optimus fighting Godzilla or the Endgame spoof, there was some obvious inconsistencies, and there was some.
It sounded like Tom Holland.
No, it did sound like Tom Holland. Like again, the sound was crazy, but I don't know. I think like my biggest concern really lies within like, so when we watched the Optimus versus Godzilla, that was just Peter Cullen. That was just the voice actor behind Optimus. That's just who that was. Obviously, they didn't contact him, right? That's where that is like the theft that I would be concerned about, is like the theft of animators or you know, like again, like the Otter, because the Otters look great. Like they genuinely, that looked like a genuinely good animation, or the voice actors, because those are, it's harder to replace Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise. But it's easier to replace an animator or a voice actor. So I that would be where my concern lie.
I think it's pretty easy to replace Brad Pitt. You should give it a go.
Just try.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm talking to you, Ryan. You can go out there and yep. You can be Brad Pitt. I'll be I don't know, Matt Damon or Ben Affleck. I don't know
Oh,
yet.
here we go. Here we go. No. You you be you're not gonna like this. You be Kevin Spacey for like 3 seconds. Here's my Brad Pitt. Ready? What's in the box? There you go. How did it look?
I don't know the face that he made when he did that, but did you see the prosthetic of Gwyneth Paltrow's spoiler head?
Yeah. Pretty
Isn't that
good.
crazy?
Yeah.
Did they use that somewhere else?
I don't know if they used it. I don't think so. But the thing is that
They made it for 7 and then they used it somewhere else. I'm pretty sure.
I don't
Anyway,
remember.
we can continue while I find this out. Pop quiz time.
Yeah, I don't know where else they would have used Gwyneth Paltrow's head. I don't know.
They used it in a movie where they did brain surgery on her.
That's actually insane. That's actually a really interesting piece of cinema history.
Yeah. So so it was supposed to be used in 7 and it was left over. And then when she was, I don't know what this is movie is. Contagion.
Okay.
Which is
I know that movie.
a Matt Damon movie. Jude Law, Matt Damon, Kate Winslet, Lawrence
That's a great
Fishburne.
film. Yeah.
Yeah.
That movie came out
She had
in like
brain surgery or
2012.
something. Yeah, and it was nuts. I remember that scene being nuts.
It wasn't brain surgery. She was dead.
Oh, was she? Sorry,
yeah,
my fault.
I mean, it's not even really a spoiler because if you watch the first 20 minutes, Gwyneth Paltrow plays Matt Damon's wife, and it's weird because it came out like almost a decade before COVID, but it was she was in China and she got sick. Yeah, it's very odd at how similar the storylines were to reality. But anyway, the film came out in like 2012.
We're about to get real conspiratorial.
Is that a Soderbergh? Is Contagion a Soderbergh? 2011.
Yes, it is.
My memory works sometimes. Yeah, it's a good film. Anyway, getting back to AI. Panic! AI is going to take it all. Reminisce while you can.
You should cry. You should curl up in a ball and no. Come on.
I feel like again, my worries lie in as we talked about before, the loss of jobs. Like that's where I genuinely think, because that's just a point I've made on the show, is that every advancement of technology in the human history has had this conundrum. It doesn't matter when. It doesn't matter how.
The internet killed a lot.
Yes. It's not, now I'm not defending AI because I do think that the bubble should and will pop, and there has to be a restriction, not just for the environmental issues, not just for the job loss issues, but for art and art's sake. I do think that there needs to be, I don't know, there needs to be some form of protection. There needs to be some form of restriction. However, I am not one who sits and looks at AI like this and says, this is the end of the arts. I feel like there's I'm pretty sure it was Ethan Hawke that had said that his opinion on it was like, you'll never replace the human aspect. And it's right. Even the best ones that we saw, it did feel robotic. It felt weird. The cuts were odd, like the fluid motion, even though it fit. And they obviously, like I said, in the Pitt versus Cruz fight that SeeDance generated, obviously they just pulled actual choreography from a movie, placed their heads in their bodies over top of that, and that's why it looks so good. But even that it just didn't feel natural to some extent, if that makes sense. When you watch it, you can, now maybe you're like, what movie was that from when you first look at it? But when you really look at it, you can kind of tell still, even if it looks great comparatively. So I just feel like even as AI progresses, if you stay on top of it, if you're in an industry like ours, you learn how to not adopt it, but you learn how to, there are tools within, like we've used before, Premiere Pro, that help you and are beneficial. They're AI. Yeah. It's the example I use is Adobe now has a feature where you can eliminate in an interview Like the pauses and the weird, like the breaths. You can just tell, hey, AI, do this. And that saves you like hours. That will save you a lot of work. And that's just something you can, like, there are things like that that is not taking away from the human element, that is helping you do your job, that I think you will have to adopt if you're going to continue working in this industry, right? But obviously there's a line here. And I worry that this is crossing it from a legal standpoint and from a animator, from a voice actor standpoint. Again, I don't think you're going to replace Brad Pitt or Tom Cruise. There's always going to be the next. Like, Jacob Elordi is going to be around for a really long time. You're not going to replace Jacob Elordi. You're not going to replace Margot Robbie. But Peter Cullen, you know, James Earl Jones already sold his voice and said, or not sold his voice, but like before he passed, he allowed his voice to be used. Peter Cullen's getting up there. And Optimus isn't going away. Like, Transformers is a living, breathing, and thriving franchise right now. Jake, any thoughts?
I agree with you on. It's not fear mongering, but like, I don't know. It is. There were people who were reluctant to use the internet or computers or vehicles, cars. You know, I'll never give up my trusty steed, Wednesday. I'll never give up Wednesday. He rode into the town on Wednesday, and he
I think
left on friends. Anyway.
Oh yeah. That, I think that was it. Stayed for 2 weeks or whatever. Yeah.
The horse's name was Wednesday.
You know how it goes.
But
whatever. Yeah.
I don't. Yeah. I'm not going to say that times aren't different in terms of social media and technology and how word travels a whole lot faster nowadays than it did back then. But it's one of those conundrums. And so there are studies on phenomenon such as this, where the adoption rate shows how prominent of a advancement something is. And so it can be tracked through the use of blenders from when they were first conceptualized, patented, and then mass produced. It's like, I'm not going to use a blender. I'm just going to chop all my fruit like anybody else. But once they start being, everybody has a blender now. Mm-hmm. But the adoption rate might have been a whole lot slower because the blender is not necessarily a massive piece of technology. However, the internet or computers or smartphones, and now AI, smartphones, as soon as they were introduced, whoa, straight up, few years, all it took for the whole world to be using smartphones. Yeah. Only a few years for the whole world started using the internet and is now heavily reliant on the internet. AI is the fastest adoption rate, whether or not that's because all the big tech firms have thrown millions upon billions of dollars into them and forced people to use it through all of their different softwares and hardwares. But if you're just going by the study of how fast these phenomenons are adopted, AI is the fastest. It only took 2 years. Smartphones took longer than 2 years to get adopted at such a rate. So
I think it's important to distinct too. It's like you should, like, there's a reason why people are afraid, and you're not wrong, right? Because like we're talking from the individual level. Like, we are talking about like we're talking about the individual editor, animator, voice actor, you know, but the fear coming from a corporate standpoint, from these businesses intentionally cutting jobs, that is something to genuinely fear, and that is something to genuinely hate. Like Disney talking about they're going to take a turn or a stab into, I think we'll talk about that a little bit later, into AI, right? Like, that's something terrifying. That should be scary, because that cost cutting is to the detriment of jobs. However, from an individual standpoint, that is where I think that, again, when the bubble pops, we've talked about this before too, it won't go away. It just will. It'll come back down to earth, and we'll see where the money is actually made is being sold to individual people. That's why, like, NVIDIA selling off their entirety of their stock, not to consumers, but to AI companies. NVIDIA will probably, I see a reality. I'm not going to put my money on this, but I can see a reality where NVIDIA goes under, because when the bubble pops and they return to the market trying to sell graphics cards to individuals, there's already going to be companies there that are going to take their place. We just haven't seen it yet because it's so sudden and so recent. NVIDIA is going to try to return, and the average everyday consumer will remember that, right? So,
if we're talking about graphics cards, I think once Intel Intel hits big, they kind of suck right now because they're just now creating graphics cards. AMD is a little bit better than Intel, but they still have their own bugs. Nvidia is the best right now, but if Intel cracks the code and is better than or that at the same level as Nvidia, they'll take it. They'll take it from AMD immediately. I think Intel has what it takes, and that's I don't know who owns Intel, but they're making graphics cards right now, and they're trying their best to come out with a consumer grade. But until that like you said, it's going to be somebody, and there's not many other companies out there making graphics card, and if they are, they're trying to get their money from the AI side as well.
There are definitive uses for it. I guess like the point I'm making is that like point your anger where you should be pointing it. These like the major corporations who are using it to try to slight you. Because the thing is, I wouldn't blame that on AI. I would blame that on the company.
Yeah.
You know, like Disney trying to cut costs because they're using AI. Why are you mad at AI? Also, like, not to say you shouldn't be mad at the AI companies, because also they are also like OpenAI. They're polluting, right? Like, and they're trying to get the government to bail them out, and they're not, right? So it's like there are things that there are rephrasing here. There are definitive things you should be angry about. In terms of the film side of things, going back to what we originally started talking about, the point I will make about AI, where its lasting impacts will be, because I don't think it's going to replace the human aspect, the storytelling, the acting, the genuine like practical effects. Those are not going away. The real human voice acting, right? That's not going away. But you want to know what it will replace? I genuinely think when we see this in films in 20 years, we're going to say, wow, they chose that's like an art housey way of doing that. It will replace CGI. CGI will go away. It will take a while, but I'm telling you, because AI will get to a point where it is so user-friendly and it is so easy to pop out these things and it's easier. This is the animation industry will take a huge hit. Maybe not like anime, maybe not like your kids' cartoons, but like, again, we talk a lot about Transformers today. If Michael Bay in 15 years, when he's an older man, is wanting to come back and make Transformers 12, do you think he's going to have to, because for Revenge of the Fallen, the sequel, they had to create an entire render farm because when they were trying to CGI one specific bot, his name's Devastator, he's like a culmination of a bunch of different ones, it melted computers because it took so much firmware and so much power to render each individual frame. It took months, right? And he wasn't in it for very long because of that. But if you can just tell a bot, like a high impact bot, to say, hey, make Devastator, and they could just do it, I think that's where you will see the major impact. I don't think the human aspect of it will go away, but I think the CGI element will start to be heavily impacted. So, and to go back to add to that point, in 1984, 83, do you know which film was banned from the Oscars because they felt like the use of CGI was cheating?
I have no idea. Star Wars?
Tron.
The
original Tron was barred from the Oscars in the early 80s because of its use of CGI. What are we seeing now?
Barring of AI.
To some extent. You have to list it and you can't use it to a certain percentage of the movie, but you get what I'm saying. So yeah, I think point your anger to what you should be pointing it to. Understand that it's not going away and you will have to adopt it in some way, shape, or form. The bubble will pop and it will come back down to earth. But know that I don't personally think the human element will go away from your favorite TV show, film, cartoon, etc. Darn it. And this is so much different than Darren Aronofsky. We talked about this 3 weeks ago. I feel like this right here is not a major, like, world-renowned Hollywood director like Darren Aronofsky for Requiem for a Dream and so on and so forth, just turning out this AI slop just to turn it out. You know, like, I feel like that is an important distinction to make. This is a tech company trying to create something for the public, you know, even if it is more like wrong from a legality standpoint. I don't know. I just feel like these are way too separate instances, because I can already hear that, well, you were mad about Darren Aronofsky 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. Which he's gonna. I look forward to seeing that. I don't know what that's gonna look like.
It's gonna look terrible. It already does look
Probably.
terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
I mean, it's just gonna be 8-second shots. The whole movie's just
know.
8-second shots.
I don't know. I'm fascinated by this.
Which I've worked with Ryan before, and 8-second shots a long time.
Anywho,
Can we make that shorter?
yeah. Can we add 3 frames?
Yeah, I guess.
We definitely should
That's
stream.
actually what I'm super pumped about is the can we add 3 frames? No, but maybe AI can. You know?
Yeah, that's where
There's a level of that deep into generation that I'm like, I wonder.
I don't know. That's a little bit beyond my comfortability.
The screen?
Yeah, beyond the screen of comfortability. That's where I get a little bit like, it's okay if you're using it to help you take out things that are there. It's okay if you're like, again, CGI, who knows? I think it will be impacted heavily because animation, whatever. But I don't know if adding frames, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. I think using it as a tool to help you with what's there is good. That is where I'm kind of, I don't know how to feel about it. Adding frames to a shot that wasn't there before. That does feel synthetic to me.
All right, buddy. All right.
Well, tell me how you disagree. Like, I'm just curious.
No, it's about, I don't, it was shot and I need it to connect. And so I see it as a tool to make the story.
Yeah.
I think it's no different than removing something. It is adding something. It's just because somebody said cut and the camera stopped rolling doesn't mean I don't need those 3 frames to hit it, I guess. And so I see it as a means to I don't know, like it's not like I'm robbing a performance from somebody. I don't know. I don't see it as like necessarily a bad thing. It is generation and not, I guess, but I don't know. It's like AI voice isolation in DaVinci. I mean, it's.
But again, you're pulling what's already there. You know, like it's not like you're creating new. You're just telling the AI to bolster what's there. It's not generating something new. You know?
How about AI generated subtitles and transcripts?
But again, it's generating from something that's already there. It's generating the words.
I'm generating frames with something that's already there. I am moving somebody that much.
Subtitles is different from what you just said. Subtitles, if you generate subtitles, you are just telling the AI to pull the words and show it on screen from what is actually being said. I don't think that's.
But I didn't do it, and the actors didn't do it when I generated the frames. When I had to do it,
I don't think that. I think that's apples to oranges. I think those are way separate things.
I don't think it's a bad thing. I don't think generating a couple of frames, you know.
I don't know. Again, I'm not saying that like it's a bad thing. I just don't know how I feel about it because to me that does feel synthetic because you could just get those frames if you held the shot a little longer.
But
then do without. That's the art, but that's the art of editing. That's the art of filmmaking is you figure it out. Like, I don't know. I feel like, again, I don't know. I don't know how to feel about it because that's genuinely my first reaction is like, do it. Like, okay, you don't have those frames. Well, how are you going to get around it? That's like the fun of editing is like trying to figure out the puzzle of like, okay, I really could have used this. I don't have a reshoot. How do I figure this out? Yes, it'd be nice if you could just AI it, but also it's like that. I don't know. That does still feel synthetic to me. And the other things that we were describing, I feel like are pulling from things that are there. You're generating. You're telling AI to pull out the voice and remove the back. But the voice is what's there, like it was actually spoken. Generating subtitles from a voice that was actually spoken. I think those are way
generating frames from somebody who actually acted, walking through a room or picking up a glass, or for instance, turning on the faucet, like having water actually come out of the faucet.
Yeah,
generating that for those few frames. I don't know. I was like. It doesn't necessarily have to be. I'm not talking about like, I guess, written lines and people and performances as much as I am extending a take that much longer to make either a match cut work or somebody to either be further back or closer or hand in a certain position within a couple of frames so the eye can see it and move on. Because I don't know, like this, I'm not talking about generating entire takes. This is connective tissue that people say that you, like right there, right between the cut that you would need.
Yeah,
it's not there yet. I've not seen it, but
this goes back to the point I was making earlier, because I remember watching an interview from the two actors who lead in. There's a movie that just came out that is being revered. People love it. And it's a spoof or spin-off film of a 2000s and early 2010s like web series, Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie. Yeah. And those creators were saying how you don't even know there's CGI in there, and the CGI is being used to connect the frames. And very similar to what you're describing, they're saying CGI is already done like that, and 99% of the times you don't even notice it. That's what that feels like. And I feel like that is on the, I wouldn't say on the fringes, but that is like the gray area of like the moral and ethical debate of like, okay, you're not adding to the performance per se, like the vocal spoken word, but you are adding to the performance because you're making that hand move in a way that wasn't moved in reality. But the thing is, if they're just those frames, like those, like let's say it's like 3 to 7 frames, it's very quick, and all it does is just make the continuity flow. Will it get to a point like CGI where you don't even notice it? It's not changing the actual performance, but it's adding to the continuity, a lot like the way CGI is already used. I think our debate is mute because it's going to happen anyway. This is where CGI will be phased out and AI will be phased in.
I just think that's the middle of the road. And you know me, I generally try to remain in the middle or see all sides. But I think that outside of what we've seen today, talking otters and Optimus Prime fighting Godzilla, I think the middle of the road bubble popping and just AI being used as a tool, I don't think frame generation or take extension or whatever they come up with. I'm a DaVinci user. I think it'll be something like that of just AI. Because they already do it with music.
Yeah,
they already do it with, like Adobe's doing it with, it's called Remix or something like that in DaVinci. But Adobe's had it since I was a sophomore in college, and I used it to, instrumental. I'm not what is it? Ashamed to say that I have extended a freesound.org something out to however long. These are 40 to an hour long short story podcast narratives, and I just needed that ambience to be, or I needed that small little score to be this long or something like that. And Adobe Audition had whatever audio remix, and it literally, I don't know how it works, but basically just extends it by finding the beat or finding the melody and just starting it over in certain spots. But it's kind of like that. So instead of visual, it's an auditorial generation, I would say.
Again,
so
we've always had the opinion on this show. Like, and I say we because me and you happen to agree on this. Is as a tool, it's just something that it's happening. Like it's here, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. We create tools to help us out, and that's just what we do. Again, the problem is when you start to try to synthesize art, and when you try to take jobs, and that again, that'll always be the opinion. But it's fascinating to see how AI is advancing, specifically in the world of film and in media as just in general, how there are give and takes. But like, again,
there's gray areas. There's
most definitely.
We can go back like months with the son and the father creating an anime. Straight indies, just them creating an anime using AI video generation. And voice actors, right? I think they might have had AI voice actors, or did they
What
actually
was
get
that
voice actors?
called? I think they got AI voice, but there's something that it's like a software that they were gonna plan to plug into Discord that you can just like type in whatever.
Oh, was that the same deal?
Let me look it up. Yeah, I
don't
think.
remember, but I mean, that's the gray area I'm speaking of. Is does it take jobs if they could never pay that person to do it to begin with?
Yeah.
Or like, or I guess you could argue that they could learn how to animate, but as a 12-year-old with an idea, as a proof of concept,
Yeah.
we're very fortunate. We can be looking at cameras and
It's
and
called
have lights.
Showrunner.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was
yes,
the Discord
yes.
one. Yeah.
Yes.
But if somebody wants to go into film and all they can afford is $20 a month on ChatGPT, and they want a proof of concept to somebody or an investor or something,
But here's the thing though, you got to remember, like audience at home, not you, Jake. I know you know.
Mm-hmm.
I work for the arts at a university, a public university, and in my job is film and film techniques and technologies. A pervasive thought throughout the industry, I will rebuttal that, because yes, you might only be able to afford $20 in your pocket right now. More likely than not, even if it's a Pixel, even if it's a Samsung, you have a camera that you carry with you at all times that can shoot in 4K and 24 frames. If you're carrying an Apple, you can shoot in Apple ProRes. I know we talked about the ISO recently, and you're putting a ND filter on your phone so you can better your Apple ProRes. The point is, the point is, you don't even need to spend the $20 on ChatGPT, because you have a cinematic level camera in your pocket. You can go and make it. There is no excuse for not just going and making it. You don't need lights. You just need people who are willing to say lines and that can take direction, and your phone, and you can do that. So I will, yes, there is a level to that. Like if you're trying to make like a spoof, like a Star Wars spoof, and it's hard to get like the CGI needed to create a lightsaber. So you get someone, you rip off the end of a broom and you wave it around and you tell whatever animation or AI, whatever, make this a lightsaber. I get that element. But the rest of it, proof of concept, go shoot that with your phone. You can do that. There's no excuse not to. So I don't know. I feel like that for me is not even gray area. That's just, I perceive that, unless you're trying to do something with like sci-fi or something that needs CGI and you just don't have the funds for that. If you're literally just trying to create a proof of concept for a story that you don't have that you don't want to go out and make, that's laziness. That's different. That for me is just, you have the cinematic quality camera in your pocket. Go make it.
Which, yeah, some might not, but like, I'm not going to say that everybody has a phone, but
well, no, but the point is
it's a vast
do.
minority or mass majority would have a phone. Yeah.
Yes.
But,
so
yeah.
I feel like that caveat is that's searching. I don't know. If you don't have a phone, but you can spend $20 a month on ChatGPT, I think that
or a library membership.
Right. Like, yeah, I don't know. Like, I feel like those are two different, that's a whole different discussion. That's an entirely different discussion.
Yeah. I get it. Still, I could see it being used in that way. I still think it's a level of like, no, yeah, you're right but like, not everybody's got people in their corner, it's just them, I guess. But it would be much easier to prove it could work with this tool and then go do it for real. Get people who are on board.
But you don't learn anything
or a
from
dad and his
it.
12-year-old son.
I feel like for production houses, you don't learn anything from generating it. You know what I mean? Like,
No.
like you the whole point of making the film and the whole point of a proof of concept is that you know how to do it. It's like
Or
you're saying
storyboards.
with storyboards, whatever. It's like the whole point of a proof of concept. Storyboards is different. That's different because that's a whole element that you could easily, because I know I can't draw and no one else is going to draw my storyboard. So if I use chat and I was like, hey, I need this angle and I need this person, I need this out, that's okay. That's completely different. Right. But again, like if you have a proof of concept footage and you just generated that, you're not showing that you're using your imagination. Yeah. But you're not showing that you know how to actually film it, because having an idea for a shot and actually executing that shot, way different things.
Which, I mean, you can input that as a prompt of a low angle with this aperture.
Yes. But again, doing it is so much different because when you're actually on set, it's so much different. I don't think a production house, if they see that, if they know it's AI, I don't think they'll go for it. I don't think they'll go for it at all because like you need the concept, you need the physical proof of concept. Because again, just because you know, okay, I want this angle and I want this, that doesn't mean you actually know how to go do it. You know, like I feel like
which is it a production house or is it you're looking for investors?
Either. Like you can go to a production house and say like, hey, like, or like a distribution house, right? Like I'm wanting to make this film. I have no proof of concept. I have an AI generated whatever, like proof. Can you distribute this if I make it and get the funding? And it's like, you haven't shown me that you can make it. You've shown me that you have an imagination and you can type. Like, I feel like we are bouncing back and forth between that's cool, that's not cool. Like, I feel like we're going through every, like, again, storyboards, that's way different because it's like, again, I can't draw. I would not be against using name AI to help me draw if it actually worked. If I was like, hey, like, I want this low angle. This is in the shot. Can you make it? And it's like, okay, well, I don't really want this. Can you describe it like this? Because at the end of the day, that's like, I can't draw a perspective for crap, right? Like I'm not an artist in that way. I am an artist in another way, but not that way, right? I'm okay with allowing chat to help me with that, but everything else, like from the moment it leaps.
I mean, but I guess it always comes back to the question is, Ryan, could you find an artist?
I could. Do I have now this? And there we go. Now this is interesting because we talked about it earlier. Do I have the money to pay that artist? Not really, but yeah.
That's always going to be the argument is why are you using AI? There are people for that. Go find them.
My argument was I wouldn't be paying them even if I were drawing stick figures. Like but this is the one concept that we are like, but the opposite is still true as well. The difference is I'm one person and some of these others that are trying to justify that argument that I just made are like Disney, like the company Disney.
It's a little different when we're on the grand scale, I guess. I always try to look at it from one 12-year-old perspective or one 21-year-old perspective who didn't go to college for it and has this idea for a movie and is passionate and has the willpower to get it done.
Yes, but you have to be careful because like that reasoning will be ripped by people that are not even in a tax bracket above us. They are the bracket, right? Like that's where you have to be concerned, and that's where you have to keep that fight. That's why that we have to be specific about these lanes of what is okay and what's not. But anywho, is there anything else, Jake? I think we've rambled on a lot about AI and the ethics and.
You would not believe the strength of this can. I'm like nothing.
Japan makes like real tough
like
cans.
That's all I got.
That's
like,
crazy.
I'm like I said, I don't want it to like spill everywhere, but like I'm genuinely squeezing as hard as I would a normal American can, and it should be bent all the way closed, and it is not. It is thick. Plus, flat bottom.
Interesting. Oh, yeah.
There's more coffee per can.
Anyway.
Well, because they steal from us.
First, it's the error in the chip bag.
Yep. Now it's the divot in the bottom of our cans.
Yeah.
So
anyway, thank you for sharing that, Jake. Coming up after the break, we're going to go and get out of our segment 2. We talk real or fake and what you should know before you go. Welcome back to Beyond the Screen. You've made it to segment 3, which is always how we round out our show. We usually go over all of the latest from around the entertainment world. That's not quite the big segment, not quite the biggest thing going on in the latest, but we still feel like you should know it, and we want to share and discuss it. First, we want to thank you guys for being here. Thank you for allowing us to ramble. We love talking the present day. We love talking about the biggest that's going on. We'd love to review. And again, I say it every single week, but the fact that you allow us to do this is a huge deal, and we cannot thank you enough. Thank you so much for allowing us to do this. Thank you for allowing us to join together every week, me, Jake, and Emily, to create something that we genuinely have fun doing, and to talk about an industry that we are very passionate about. So thank you so much. We appreciate you. Like, comment, subscribe, follow, share, the whole nine, because every little thing helps a ton. So thank you so much for being here. And with that out of the way, we'll go ahead and get on with the end of our show. We play Real or Fake. We read a headline from around the cinema or entertainment world, and we talk whether we read that, we discuss maybe, or we read like an opinion or our take, and we say whether or not we agree or disagree with that. If you don't understand, if you're not following, that's okay, because I a little convoluted there. Let's just give you an example. Our first Real or Fake. YouTube and Instagram find themselves in the courtroom after a 20-year-old woman sues the companies, claiming the apps are designed to be, quote, too addictive and worsening her mental health. YouTube argues their app is more like Netflix than Facebook, which their description is like it's helping you find something interesting rather than forcing you to watch.
I could agree with that.
If a judge
I'm not gonna lie.
If a judge doesn't buy this, the apps could be forced to redesign, which would be a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Real or fake, this will set a precedent for content companies for the rest of time. Whatever decision is made in this courtroom is the precedent that will be followed for the rest of time until a counter precedent is set.
Well, yeah, that's how presidents work.
Will it? Do you think that this is something that will, I guess the point is that, like, will this just fall through and there just kind of be like a settlement reached and there's really not a point either way, the case is dropped? Or do you think that a decision will be made that will impact and be the first domino to fall, kind of setting the idea of taking back like your mental time?
Oh, I think a decision will be made regardless of whether or not they settle. That decision will be made.
Interesting.
If they settle, that's the decision. Because I mean, you can't necessarily say by like legal definition or by law that if you settle that it was or was not. However, it does spray paint it writing on the freaking wall that YouTube and Instagram or Meta thought that they would lose that case. They know they wouldn't. That means they know.
Opens the door for more lawsuits as well. So
that's why I was like, will it set a precedent? Yeah, 100%. Any route that all it took was this 120-year-old woman to do it. But any route it takes will set a precedent, whether or not it is a positive one or a negative one or a settlement.
I'm interested to hear the fallout from this, just from what the public thinks, because I think that we're going to have two trains of thought. One's going to be just because you have a problem, you know, like with this lady not being able to put down her phone. The other half, the thing about addiction is it's a disease, right? Like it's not just something that you fall into. It is a genuine mental health disorder. Should there be more substance to that? Because it's no shock. Like, this is not something that's new. This is not something that's hidden. What she's pointing out in this lawsuit is something we've all known. These apps are designed, that is business. These apps are designed to monopolize your time, because the more time you spend on the app, the more money that is made from sponsorship revenue, from viewership, the whole nine, right? What she is arguing is correct. There's no defending it and saying, no, we're not addictive, because that's just inherently false. That's why you make an app, is so that it'll be more usable, right? So what I will find interesting is with this decision that will be made, because I agree there will be a decision, and I do think this precedent will be the defining precedent that will be used in lawsuits moving forward with this stuff. What will be interesting to me is the mental health decision, right? Like, will there be like a warning like there are on a pack of cigarettes, right? Like, hey, this is an addictive whatever.
It'll just get added to terms and conditions that you sign off on. Just an update.
Right.
Probably what it'll be.
Right. Will that be, or will there be a forced redesign of the apps to be less addictive? How would that work? Because if that
depends on the terms of the lawsuit.
Yeah. What I find funny too is this came from the Daily's newsletter from this past week. It's YouTube and Instagram that are being sued. I love the idea that YouTube was like, hey, they are the problem, Meta, and they're pointing to Meta and not, like we're more like Netflix. YouTube's more like Netflix. We're not Facebook. Get them. Like, because Meta owns both Instagram and Facebook. I found that really funny that YouTube and Google just were like, here you go, Meta, and threw them right under the bus. I don't know why that's so funny to me, but I did enjoy that. I got a little chuckle out of that.
I'm trying to read up on.
Better say, Jake, you look like you're thinking hard over there.
I'm trying to learn a little bit about the case and how they're approaching it to how they think they win. So the company knew.
He's reading, guys.
Internal documents. One being plaintiffs have presented internal documents, including Meta's Project Mist with a Y, study, which allegedly showed the company knew that while parental controls are ineffective, children with trauma were highly vulnerable to addiction.
And these companies, and so they're arguing that the companies were targeting these audiences.
They knowingly moved forward with the algorithms that still, targeted, like even knew parental controls are ineffective and that children with trauma were highly vulnerable to this and move forward with it knowingly, which is a portion of this lawsuit's claiming that they knew, deliberately designing addictive features that harm the mental health of children and teenagers.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So it's known as a bellwether case likely to influence hundreds of similar lawsuits nationwide.
See, what I find fascinating again is that this is like obvious. Like, yeah,
TikTok and Snapchat were initially part of the lawsuit, but they settled in January of this year.
Whoa.
Yep. Meta is going to argue it, and YouTube is going to argue it.
I think of all of them, like you had said earlier, YouTube is the one, because like the thing is that YouTube is not necessarily, I wouldn't even say you can get addicted to anything. Like that's why it's a disease, is because like addiction is not specified to things that are trying to make you addicted, right? Like you could be addicted to literally anything. YouTube,
addicted to you.
I'm so addicted to all the things you do. What do you know about Saving Abel? Anyway. Can you blame YouTube for trying, like Netflix, for trying to promote things that it thinks you would like? I don't think so. Like technically you could argue that same thing with Meta and Instagram, but I guess where's the difference? I agree that there is one, but what is that difference, Jake?
So I don't know how they're arguing it really, but there's a level of the UI, the UX design, the ease of the doom scroll, I guess is what their point is. The algorithm and the design of the apps make it easy to get lost and continuously scroll, I guess, is in terms of children being easily susceptible to it, especially ones with trauma, it seems, is what they're claiming. So I don't know if I can pinpoint it without reading the actual court documents, which I can try to find. But
yeah, I just think it's fascinating because it's like when you're watching those long form videos, it's almost like obviously both are going to show you things that you more enjoy, but for YouTube, it feels more like it's more casual. Like it feels like less callous. Whereas
there's a choice aside from their shorts, I guess.
Right. Well, with like Facebook, Meta, TikTok, whatever, it feels like there is because they're having to capitalize on a much shorter time span. So it does feel like there's a lot more science behind it to try to keep you going. Whereas again, like in the YouTube and Netflix, it does feel like there's more of a choice because you're not just scrolling. Like 'cause when I open Instagram, I don't know what I'm going to see. I just hit Reels.
Back in the day, you did because you followed those people.
Yeah. Now
on your own volition. And you can now doom scroll Instagram's main feed, regardless if you're watching the shorts, regardless if you're doing anything else. It's one of the most, it used to be by date. And if you got way down, you'd start seeing old stuff and it's like, oh, that's everything. I'm off Instagram for the day. I get on at 8 p.m. right before bed, scroll through what everybody was doing, got to yesterday's, turned off Instagram, and you were only on Instagram for an hour, commenting and liking the posts of your friends and family members. Now it's suggested. Now it's, if you click a reel to see it closer, you don't realize that you've been scrolling for 30 minutes after clicking that one reel. We've all done it when something was sent to us in a DM, and then we're like, haha, funny, scrolled, and now you just dropped 30 minutes off of something somebody just sent you, and scrolling because of the algorithm.
Yeah.
So there is a level of it's not deception, but yeah, it's 100% designed to keep you on the app. And in the sense of children becoming addicted because of it, it might have grounds. It depends on the judge and the verdict. So, but yeah, I'm not going to say that the reason TikTok and Snapchat settled, that reason.
Yeah.
Exactly that reason.
Because it was on purpose. Like, and so, yeah. This will do what you call it, a bellwether case. Yeah, this is so this is 100% real. Yeah.
100%. This will have a precedent regardless of what outcome it is. And the fact that there's not a lot of people talking about the TikTok and Snapchat settling. Yeah, although it only happened in January, it has not come out yet, at least in my doom scroll. I've not seen it.
Doesn't that feel intentional? Because where do you get your news? Oh, that's an even deeper conspiracy, I guess. Isn't it interesting?
Guess who bought it recently?
Yeah, isn't it interesting that the apps that you get your news from don't share that they settled in that a federal court or a state court sees them as liable for addiction. Anyway, moving on. Our second real or fake. In an interview with Laughing Place, new Disney CEO Josh D'Amaro says future movie premieres might take place on Netflix. Real or fake? This is a viable option as Disney tries desperately to reach a younger generation.
Go big or go home. Fortnite or nothing.
No, interesting. Describe that.
I can't even find where you're at. Where's the real or fake for that?
Right here. Highlighted right here. It's right here.
It's right here. It's right there. Yeah. It's right there. All right. Future movie premieres might take place in Fortnite. Why did you say something else?
No. I mean, I read the real or fake down below it.
No, you said Netflix.
No, I said might take place in. Did I say Netflix? I said I thought I said Fortnite.
Did he say Netflix? Emily, back me up. Back me up. I feel like
Netflix.
I heard
just
Netflix.
Got done talking about Netflix. I don't think I said Netflix.
He said Netflix.
Oh, did I say Netflix? Oh, whoops. Fortnite. Sorry, we were talking a lot about Netflix. Fortnite.
Sorry. That was like go bigger. No, that's actually the story. Is the movie premieres are taking place in Fortnite? And
my apologies. I got caught up in the last story. Fortnite. I swore I said Fortnite.
I think it is real that, unfortunately, is real that the most viable option to get to this younger generation is doing a movie premiere that they'd want to see. I mean, it's got to be the right movie, but do it in Fortnite because, I mean, Travis Scott's concert. I mean, we've got all kinds of junk going on in Fortnite already. But I've said this in prior episodes, and y'all can go back, or if you remember it, I've said we're going to see whole movies in Fortnite. Eventually. This is the tip of the iceberg that's starting to premiere. Well, I guess if future movie premieres, is that like a trailer or is that like a full movie?
I think it's a full movie.
We'll see. We're already there. So I called it a few months ago. That's how fast time marches. So yeah, 100% real. This is a viable option to reach that generation.
My question is Fortnite still that popular with the youth? Because I feel like it's dropped off a lot, but I know it's still a popular service. But
well, you got to remember it's been out for almost a decade. Yeah. So the youngest generation is still moving. It's still a very prominent amongst that level, that age range. I'm going to pull up. I cannot pull up Fortnite numbers because I am not on the right app. Never mind. I'm not on the Epic Game Store, and I don't think the Epic Game Store will tell me users. Fortnite user graph.
Either way,
Google live player count. 450 million total registered users since 2018.
okay, but that's all time. That's not necessarily.
I know. Last 30 days. November there were 9 million. Average daily is 1 million players.
Is that worldwide? I mean, like, that still is huge regardless. I'm just curious if it's like, because I hear less and less of it, and I know I'm slowly growing out of the age group for it. I know it's still relevant. I just was curious how
when they do updates and big things, I mean, it
people
spikes.
still flood back.
I'm looking at it spike through the year as
I
they
just
add
wonder-
something or
my follow-up, the reason why I asked that is because my follow-up is like, do we really think kids who, I mean, we talk about instant dopamine hit, we talk about why socials are so addictive. Do we think they're going to sit, like, join a game and sit through 2 hours or an hour and a half of a movie?
Oh, well, I thought they were already going to be doing shorter stuff anyway.
I guess is my question is like, so if it's a premiere of a movie, then the idea is it's going to be 90 minutes, right? Like the average. Do we think these kids will join a game, drop off the battle bus, and then sit for 90 minutes?
What makes you think it's going to be a traditional movie?
Because they said movie. that
well,
is why
I'm talking like this could be a revolutionary style thing where it's either
maybe
interactive or like, you know, a movie in 40. You're not wrong. 90 minutes is a long time, but how do you overcome that? Well, you incorporate the game.
I don't know, because then
they don't show whole Travis Scott concerts.
Then it's
they
just
only
a
show
telltale
like
game.
a portion.
Then it's just a telltale game, or it's just Dispatch or whatever, and it's just like you're just making the choices for the character, and because that's what it feels like when you play Dispatch. When there are 8 episodes, they're labeled as episodes. You're watching them. You're playing and watching a show.
There's a level that it could be
that's
a Helldivers level where it's you are actively working towards the goal of the movie or whatever. If there's a fight scene, if there's like an event, the Avengers Endgame level fight scene where everybody comes out of the portals, it's just a bunch of the Fortnite characters. It's literally Ready Player One Final Battle.
That's just a game. That's not a movie. Then I feel like the specificity.
Well, the cutscene, the actual scenes where they're actors and whatever.
where they're actors or whatever. There are games that are already.
It's like a Chuck E. Cheese VR game.
Yeah, but there are like already games like that. Like I mean, even especially older ones, like where they get actual actors to act out scenes and you walk around. I think that's just
it's all hypotheticals, right?
I know.
I think it's real. I think this is a viable option to do. I think it will, at least the first time, it will work.
Well, yeah, I mean, like the novelty of it will make it successful once. I think if it's a traditional movie, like it was described, I think it's fake. I don't think you'll have enough people who will sit through it. But if it is something different, if they revolutionize a new style of film that is interactive, that's somehow not a video game, then sure. Like I guess this can be real. But I don't know. I don't necessarily. I think that this will get the name of said movie and actor further into these younger audiences like they want. But I don't think it will help their movies. I don't think it's viable for the movie itself. Does that make sense? It's like, oh yeah, I heard of that movie. It was in Fortnite. Did you sit and watch it when it premiered on Fortnite? No, it was too long. Oh, okay. Because why do you get on Fortnite? Because I want to shoot. Like I want.
What happened on November 28th?
Oh, I have no idea. Why?
Is that Thanksgiving? No.
I think it is Thanksgiving. Why? Was there a big
Friday.
spike or something?
Yeah, 9 million people. 9.7 million people were on at 7 o'clock.
Oh, I bet there was like a release or something. Fortnite. Let's see. Fortnite, November 2025. High-tech racer, max speed in the crew pack. Live event, the 0-hour finale event on November 29th. So there was like, I guess it was a finale of like a storyline they were running.
Oh, well, there you go. 9.7 million people.
That's good to know.
On a day.
Yeah.
You know, so.
You have an audience there. I just don't know if that audience is like, again, you're playing a game. I just worry about, there's some technicality things I worry about.
You have to buy a ticket. How are they going to make money off of that?
Oh my god.
Right? It's all about money.
Buy an virtual ticket so you can jump off the battle bus and sit for 90 minutes and watch. Your character's just sitting there like,
I don't have to leave home.
there are so many apps for that. that's such an absurd. Why I get
But
to
it's
stay home.
interactive.
I get to stay home. Oh, if only there were apps, needless apps for that. If only they made
Okay,
something.
or they just know or you just have to sign in with Disney Plus. You already have the app, and that's your payment.
I'm moving on. This has gone beyond the script.
Fortnite Plus.
Spider-Punk and Spider-Gwen spin-off films are already in development by Sony creators of the Spider-Verse franchise. Real or fake? How about we finish Across the Spider-Verse before we start expanding the universe, huh, Sony?
Makes you think they aren't already done. Sorry for those at home.
Yeah, I think this is so real. I don't know why you even bother trying to expand it. It's okay to like greenlight them, but like, can we put all of our firepower and all of our concentration on this film that we've been waiting for so long? Remember when they said it wouldn't take as long as the space between 1 and 2 to get to 3? Lie. I don't know. I understand the need to make money, and I understand that they're worried about people falling out of it and like being, because there are in like case studies and instances where films take too long to create a sequel and there's just no interest anymore, right? Like there are a lot of those. If you're that worried about it, finish it. I don't know. I just feel like trying to pass people over and say we're gonna make these spinoffs. I don't think that helps. So I say this is real. Like, can we please finish the movie we want to see before we start announcing spinoffs?
No, Ryan.
No.
Moving on.
So you say real as well?
Yeah, I don't disagree with you on the let's focus our resources on this one. I think it'd be stupid to switch up now because I mean this is a proven moneymaker, right? Like when I sat there and I immediately I was like, that's it. I was Woody. I was Woody watching Woody's Roundup. I was like, come on, next episode.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's it. The show was canceled.
A show was canceled. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't disagree with you on that part. I think that's a good take.
Yeah. Thank you.
Whatever.
Anyway, that's been real or fake. We agreed on one. Anyway.
We agreed on the first one.
Let's get you out of here with some what you should know before you go. We have a stacked lineup here of 7 headlines from around the entertainment world in which we're going to quickly read them to you and then go back and talk about the ones that catch our eye. Starting off, Paramount made its 9th bid for Warner Brothers, including a ticking fee, which will see Paramount pay Warner Brothers shareholders $650 million for every quarter the deal isn't done with them and Paramount. Paying Netflix's $2.8 billion breakup fee. So right now, if Netflix, because of all the effort that they're putting in, if for whatever reason the government says no, or Warner decides to go with Paramount, Warner is on the hook for almost $3 billion. Paramount's offering to pay that divorce fee, a $1.5 billion investment into debt relief to Warner Brothers, as well as a $43.6 billion equity financing package, amongst other things. And Warner may be listening. Moving on. Apple now has full ownership of Severance after a $70 million rights purchase from indie producer Fifth Season. Fifth Season will remain executive producers for the remainder of the series. In video game news, a God of War Greek trilogy remake has been announced by Sony. In a Takis ad of all places, we may have gotten our first look at Tom Holland's Spider-Man with organic webbing. Jason Momoa will star in the Justin Lin of the Fast and the Furious franchise directed Helldivers adaptation. A sequel to the Oscars-nominated Apple feature F1 is currently in the works. Jokingly, I'm going to call it F2. Judith Hogue was set to reprise her role as April O'Neil and the now canceled The Last Ronin adaptation at Paramount. And lastly, Christopher Nolan is receiving backlash online for having no Greek actors in leading roles in his rendition of The Odyssey. So, Jake, what catches your eye?
somebody had asked me, or was it? It was last night, wasn't it? You were there, Ryan. It was the which movies do you think the? Actually, I don't know if it was this friend group or the other friend. I have two
He's
gaming
cheating
friend
on
groups.
me. He's
I don't
cheating on
remember.
me.
I'm cheating on your other buddies, Matt, who's been on here before, and some in-laws of Ryan's,
Well,
or yeah, blood and in-law, blood
yeah.
in-law and Matt.
Yeah, what a group.
It could have been the other ones though that say they had asked the question is like which God of War games were they going to be remaking? I was like, it's the original trilogy, not the.
Yeah,
I don't even think the new ones have the trilogy. I thought it was just the two.
No. Yes.
Ragnarok and
yes.
So yeah, it's the originals. And then they were like, oh, I wonder what that's going to look like, and I was like, probably good.
Yeah.
The
maybe excitement
if they do the casting. Yeah, right. Now these are separate from the ones that we're previously talking about. Right, this is not the casting choices that we've seen.
No. So the casting choices is for Amazon's live action show. This is
the most recent God
of War. Of the most recent games. Yes, the God of War and then Ragnarok, which is like but that is a continuation of this original trilogy. So it is confusing. The show is being adapted from the most recent games, but this remake is of the older games.
Mm-hmm. And then Jason Momoa and Helldivers could be fun. I still think it was stupid of them not to play the game. Mm-hmm. So we'll see how goofy this is. I think it'll have clippable moments. I think it'll be funny to see the memes that come from it for as long as the game is still going by the time it comes out, right? If this live service game can continue the storyline and doesn't lose a lot of players. I mean, we did see a spike in the number of players for this recent campaign, so it gives us hope. Moving on, what else do we got? The organic webbing. I see a lot of people kind of talking. I was like, why did he? But like, I can understand being broke and depressed. Just how Spider-Man should be. He might need a little bit of help from the organic webbing, but it is kind of odd that how he comes across gaining that ability. Whereas if you don't have an origin story, you didn't necessarily establish how his powers work. We just know that he was bitten, probably. Like any other Spider-Man. It's just some Spider-Man have organic webbing, some Spider-Man have technology. So we've seen Tom Holland's Peter Parker be smart in terms of the Tony Stark tech and the using it. And now he's built his own suit and he's back to like this Peter Parker is smarter than the average Joe. Mm-hmm. And I think that's part of the character anyway. But what I'm saying is he had his own web shooters. Now he's organic. Well, yeah. I thought he had his own web shooters when he was in a hoodie, So like, what happened to those? Right.
I don't know. I from what I understand, like the idea that they're going to be playing on is that like his depressive state, his hormonal changes, his like everything that's gone on with him, like talking about like with the physical. I
forget what age he was, but I guess he was in high school. So
yeah. Like he I don't know if he graduated high school or not. Have we seen that?
Probably not. Technically not. Yeah.
So either way, the point.
I'm just trying to think about
in the last one. They were talking about trying to get into MIT and talking about trying to get into college. So he wasn't graduated before right. the events of the last film.
You said hormonal, and I was just trying to think. I was like, well, what age? He was like, yeah, I guess it kind of tracks that he would be growing into a man and unlocking this ability. We'll see if that's how they take it.
I don't know. My first initial thought was, why are they trying so hard to be Toby? But I guess like if I want to see before I judge it real hard, because that was my first initial thought when I saw this was like, really? Like they made a big deal about him having the non-organic and him being able to make it, and his conversation with Toby's Spider-Man was like the whole joke. But then I don't know. I want to see how they go about doing it before I make a judgment, because it could be really cool. Because for one, I'm a fan of the organic webbing. I think it makes more sense him as a spider that he would make that naturally. I always thought it was like, I remember as a kid too, I always thought it was kind of odd. But like, then again, that was like their way of showing how sciencey he was. Was like, oh yeah, he is a brainiac because he can make this and synthesize this because he has the powers elsewhere. So I don't really have an opinion on whether it should be or shouldn't be organic. I want it to fit. I don't want it to just be like, oh, well, the people like the organic, so we're just going to make it organic. If there's no real explanation, if it's just something they breeze by, I will be like,
I'm depressed. Now I shoot goo.
yeah. Yeah. I was sitting here. You could do that anyway. I was just sitting here and I was just like, whoop. And it just happened. And I was like, I would hate that. I would despise that because it's just like, no, like, I feel like there's got to be more to that. You know, like there's got to be, how did you figure that out? Like what was going on? I have some concerns, but I would be interested.
And then I think the last one I would point out is this might be a hot take, but I feel like if Christopher Nolan even put 1 or 2 Greek actors in the entire movie of the Odyssey, he would still catch flack for only putting 1 or 2 actors in the Odyssey. So it's either all or you're going to catch backlash for doing this, I guess. Which I'm not going to say that there's not enough Greek actors to fill out a cast. However, are there enough Matt Damon level like talent? I don't know the Greek actors pool of people off the top of my head, but that'd be my question.
There would have been a number. It feels very late in the game to be having this critique. Like they're done. they're done filming. Yeah,
it's coming out this year, right? Or next year?
This summer. So it's like,
so.
I understand this if this was something that you've had as a flack from the beginning. And I hate to say it, I never thought about it. Like this was never something I had thought about ever. Like, so I can understand again, if you've had this critique or if this was something that you've been saying for a while, good. Like I understand, but for it now to be a movement that is gaining traction when they're 3 months from release or whatever.
Or was it with, well, I mean, you got it with Wuthering Heights, right?
Yeah, but I guess that's true. That kind
we should put quotation marks around the Odyssey.
It is Christopher Nolan's version. His
is it not?
Image.
Is it not? Didn't he get flack for the Cyclops or whatever? Right?
Yeah, that was something he got very early on, was the historical accuracy of some of the stuff. But no, I'm
quotes around it.
Yeah, just every title should just have quotes around it.
It's my version of
X-Men, Spider-Man. Anyway,
if it ain't true to the source or the comics, that's what we're gonna start doing from now on Beyond the Screen. So we're gonna start putting quotation marks about everything.
Yo, Chris Nolan, you write the Odyssey? I didn't think so.
Mind you, this is the 3rd iteration of Beyond the Screen that's taken place. Ryan has had 2 other shows by this name.
But I made this. No, it's the same show. It's just evolved a lot.
Sorry. So my title is now co-host.
Yeah.
It's my version of
I am the original.
Ryan and/or our friend, if you go back to EKU, Cole Ballinger.
Yeah, he was the original co-host, but we love you, Cole.
But this is my version of Cole.
Yeah.
As co-host.
Yeah.
I just think that's funny. I think we just start putting quotes around everything that's not true to comic or book or.
I'm just gonna.
If it's original idea.
Yo, you write that? You wrote that back in 1980 something, right? Right? You know.
Every cover ever, by the way.
Yeah. Anyway. Yeah.
Ice Baby.
Ice Baby. Just hard quotations around every word. Anyway, we've gone off the deep end. I think this is a great place to jump off and end our show. Thank you guys for watching. Please, again, like, subscribe, comment, do the whole 9, because we would love to hear from you. Jake, anything you want to tell the people before we let them go?
Oh my God. It didn't even touch, dude. I swear. Oh, maybe that's how they steal it. The walls are so thick that they don't put. That's. I'm on to you, Japan.
For our
it's
audio
just a different
listeners,
way.
Jake groaned like that because he was trying to crush his Boss coffee.
I can't even bend it. Oh, there it is.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good job. All right, that's
It's harder than it looks.
the end of our show. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you next week.